Hello everybody, it's Karen from Vintage Style Journals. I've just in the middle of doing something and I thought, what on earth am I doing? I should be showing everybody what I'm doing here. So what I'm attempting is I want to make a little art box to put some watercolour paints in, just so that I can take it in my handbag when I go on holidays, going up to see my mother-in-law just after Christmas. And I thought I'd just like to take some bits and pieces along that aren't too in the way. So what I'm doing is I'm making a little watercolour art box, and this art box is not tin, but I'm making it to look like an old world piece. So what I've done is I've purchased a little book box thingy from Spotlight, and I've gessoed the inside and the outside. I use the Atelier brand here of gesso primer. It's a huge bottle, but I use a lot of this stuff and it's brilliant. I know it's going to last. So what I've done is I've painted, you can see the white as opposed to the silver there, with gesso all over the box, the inside and the outside of the box. And the other thing that I've done, and I always do the bottom because I don't know about you, some people are smellers, some people are touchers, and some people are turner-overers. So when I go into a gift shop, I always pick up the piece and look at the back of it. And so I like to finish the back of any piece that I do, particularly in my artwork. And so yeah, I think if you're going to sell your artwork and your little pieces, they need to be beautifully finished. So just a little tip from me for all of those turner-overers, you'll probably appreciate it. Okay, so what I've done is I've painted it in a coat of gesso, just the one coat. This is actually a, I don't know if I've said this or not, but it's one of those, what are they called? Just a little paper mache type of box, and this one's in the shape of a book. I thought that'd make I've been looking for a tin about this size just to put my watercolour paints in. I paint in every medium, but I want to take the watercolours away and just grow a little bit more in those. So I thought I'd make a nice little box for it to go in. And that's where I've come up with this idea. The front here isn't on the original paper mache box that I purchased. I've made this out of a piece of card, which I've embossed. This is the design here. This probably can't see the whole design, but there it is there, up in that little picture there. I got this from Kaiser Craft a little while ago when they were having a brilliant special. $5.99 on the price, but I'm not sure I paid that much for it. But anyway, I'm not here to advertise for them particularly, but I do like this one. I thought it was a little bit fancy without being overstated. So that's what I've chosen to do. So I put that on a piece of card and then I glued it down to the front of the box. I did gesso underneath on the top of the box because I feel that if this does come unstuck, then it's going to have a better grip if it's gessoed. Anyhow, what I want to do is I just want to show you the steps so far, and I'm sorry that I didn't do it in front of the camera because I think, you know, if you're not an artist, then these sort of things are wonderfully achievable. You don't have to be an artist to be able to put something really quite beautiful together just with a few materials. So okay, so this is paper mache box, a little bit of embossing on the top. Glue obviously you'll need, and I use the Josonia brand of paint. I always have done as far as acrylics goes, and their oils are beautiful, and they do have an interactive artist art acrylic, and which I've used both of these because as I was painting in the silver, I ran out of the silver, didn't I? So, and I wanted to do 2 of these boxes, so I had to use the interactive, but you can't even see the difference. They're very, very much the same in hue or colour, and the texture's just a little bit different because with the interactive you can work a little bit longer with it. It's brilliant. If you haven't tried it, you really should. Yeah, so the Josonia brand I love because it is archival quality, and it will stand the test of time. The colours do not fade. They are guaranteed forever, for life. So let me recommend that to you if you're looking to purchase any acrylic paints, or yeah, the gouache, which is some people pronounce it gouache, but it isn't. It's pronounced gouache, Gouache, and I use the artist gouache, and they're an acrylic base, so brilliant. Anyway, moving on. That wasn't an ad. Well, it seemed like it was, but it really wasn't meant to be. I'm just really pumped about them because I love them. I've been using them for probably 20-25 years now. I was one of their teachers and used them over many years, and I've loved them. They've made beautiful paintings for me. Okay, so what I've done is I've white gessoed the inside, silver painted over it, stuck the embossed card down onto the top of the box, and that's where we have it right now. This is what it's going to be. I've made a few changes, as you can see. A bit of a difference here. Yes, no, yes, okay. So this is going to be my art box. I love it already. I'm not sure whether I was going to put some kind of fancy doodah name in here, but I'm not sure if I want to change it because I love the way it turned out. I might even use a little bit of crackle varnish on it, but I'm still not sold on that idea at the moment. I'll have to have a couple of days to think about it, but if I do, I'll let you know. And so what I've done is, after I've got to this stage with the silver, as you can see, and I've left this white for a very good reason. I'm going to be putting something in there, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is my box. This is what I've come up with. And I do the inside. As you can see, I've left a bit of white there. Much different, isn't it? Just paint it all in there. And on the back as well. And on the edge. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I'll probably be doing a few of these and giving them away. I might even sell a couple in my shop. Who knows? And anyway, that's where I'm up to at the moment. So I stopped there and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to show people how I got to this gorgeousness. So let's do it. I've used, as I said, I used the Jo Sonja brand of paint, and I'm using a mix of Payne's Grey and raw umber, and that's how I achieve this colour. And what we're going to do is we're going to lightly paint it. I might start with the inside of the box, and I've got an old brush here, but it's got a fair bit of water on it. I'm just going to mix on my palette here. I'm using a disposable palette page from these guys, so just pop that aside for a minute. I don't tend to use disposable palettes. I tend to use a wet palette when I paint. Not going to go into that. I might do that another time, but at the moment I just thought for time I'll just do a bit of a mix. You can see that Payne's Grey is just a lovely, almost like a dark bluey colour, but it really is the most magnificent colour for toning down a variety of different hues. So I'm using the raw umber into the Payne's Grey. I'm going to mix it up until I'm happy with it. Maybe a bit more. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint a little bit at a time. We'll go with the inside because I'm also going to put something down there, so if I muck it up, it doesn't really matter. Beautiful thing about paint, you can see that I've put quite a bit of water on my brush there just to fluid it out a little bit, make it a little bit more workable, get it into those corners of the box. Don't want to miss any corners. It doesn't have to be perfect brush strokes, and that's the beauty of non-artist type people having a really good go at this. So you're going to get some really beautiful results. And the fact of the matter is yours is not going to look like mine. Mine's not going to look like yours. And you know what? That's absolutely okay. Just put a bit more water on my brush there. I love the acrylics because you can make them look like a watercolour if you use some of the different mediums. At the moment I'm using water. The only problem with water is it tends to water down the adhesive quality of the paint because it's not structured to be used only with water. That's why they sell lots of different mediums, and you've got to know what you're doing with each of the mediums. And you know, I might do some kind of little series on that at some point when I'm feeling like I need to get back into teaching again. So yeah, at this stage I've just used the water, and all I'm going to do now, you can see it's really rough. Okay, that's the inside. Put my brush down. Got a little piece of half-used paper here. It's just paper that I use to rub away the majority of the paint. Doing it while it's reasonably wet is a really good idea, but if you want to do it a little bit later, and I haven't put any medium down to protect the actual painted surface, you can actually do that. You can actually put a medium, like a glazed medium or something like that, to put it down just in case you make mistakes. Now you can see there's quite dark inside. I don't mind that at all. I'm going to probably just take off a little bit more around the front here. But you can see it's not rocket science, is it? Anyone can do that. You can scrub away. Women are very good at that. Sorry guys if you're listening. We're really good at scrubbing stuff. Okay, so just the inside of the box. We've dirtied it up a bit. Okay, so I like that. We'll just move on and paint some more. So I need to get some more paint on my palette here. Loving the colour of this. Initially I thought I might use black, but I changed my mind on that because I think black is quite harsh, and that's okay if that's the look you're going for. Need a little bit more blue in that, or Payne's grey rather. That's okay if that's the look you're going for, but and it works really good with medieval type stuff. But I tend to use Payne's grey with the raw umber because it's not quite so harsh, not quite so dark. So that's all I need to do on the inside there. You can see I'm roughly painting this. Okay, you know you can do this. It's not hard, and I'm hoping that you're going to give it a go and let me see what you come up with. So I'm just rubbing away the excess again there, back in there. Okay. Now I haven't taken it all off to the center because I need, you know, to stick something down there in a minute. I'm going to show you what that is as soon as I finish painting the outside. So I'm going to probably speed this up a little bit for you so you're not bored to tears. You're going to love the top of it when we get to it. It's just gorgeous. Can fill around till the cows come home and make it as dark or as light as you like. But you can see it's not taking very long. I feel like I'm going to knock the camera over. And it's certainly different to silver. And that's the look we're going for. We're not going for silver. We're going for something that's a little bit more aged looking. Right. Okay. I might just do the top, and I'll finish off the rest of the box and come back, but I'm going to do the top with you watching. It's just gorgeous. You need to, I'm not doing it quite so watered down at the moment. I'm just going to go into all these bits where the embossing sits, just making sure the dark colour goes into those crevices, because when we're going to rub it back, we don't want it all pale again. You can go darker and darker. You just need to figure out what you like as far as the colours you like. I think you can always add more if you don't like it. If you feel it's a little bit light, you can just always add more. And if it's too dark, baby wipes, secret weapon, baby wipes, perfect for removing paint. I use it on this background of this piece of matting that I've got on my lovely surface top here. Just they clean them off really really well, and they're cheap. You know, you can get them at one of those cheap stores for a couple of bucks, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on them. You don't need the perfect ones for baby's bottom because you're not using them on baby's bottom, but they are adequate for all your paint removal needs, trust me on that. I'm thinking, oh dear, this is drying out. I've got the aircon on here today. It's a little bit warm, but yeah, anyway, just about ready. I might just move that palette so I can just put that down and get some more paint. Let's come into the middle here. You can see that it's drying. If I mixed a little bit of water on the brush, then that would be fine. It would, yeah, oh, I don't know. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Just going to keep painting that until it's covered. If you want to do it in stages, just do it in stages. Have a little bit of look, see what you want to do, whether you want to take it off, whether you want to put more on. The beautiful thing about painting is, you know, it's your choosing day. There are no mistakes. Mistakes can be painted over if you feel they're mistakes. So let's do it. This is just a really dirty bit of paper right now, but I haven't got another piece in here, so I'm just going to just gently scrape away at that. It's a dry piece of paper. If you want to remove more paint and you're feeling it, it's a bit dark, if you want to move some more paint, just dampen the paper a little bit or use your baby white. I wouldn't recommend using your baby white too soon because you don't want to take off all the paint. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of water, make it a little bit, you can see the result in a minute. I'm just going to take off a little bit extra paint there in the middle. Maybe a little bit more in here. See what I mean? You can actually remove it. If you don't like it, get rid of it. All right. Actually, I don't think I like all of that in there, so I'm just going to play around a bit, take it off. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe just pull back a little bit more. I want to have some area in the middle that looks like it needs some words or something like that there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more paint spray. It's looking a little bit muddy. I want it to look a little bit more, I don't know, not pewtery necessarily, but I just don't want it looking too muddy. So I'm going to go with a little bit more Payne's grey in it, which will make it, give it a little bit of a blue tone. Let's just mix up a little bit more. I think I put a little bit too much raw umber in that last mix. Now I haven't put any water on my brush at all, but I'm just going to go towards the outsides of the, I hope I'm not off screen there we go, just towards the outsides, and because it's really really dark, I'm going to wipe that off straight away. Yeah, I think I like that shade a little bit better, so just put that bit more in there, wiped a bit too much off. Always in the corners, in the crevices, that's where the dirt tends to build up on furniture, so use that knowledge and do it with your painting. If you're going to be painting in the corners of anything, go a little bit darker, and again, remove it if you're not happy. Just get the baby wipes out and it'll take the lot off. I'm liking that. I think the blue's a little bit better, the Payne's grey rather. I keep saying blue and it's not blue. Sorry, artists. Okay, I like it. What do you think? Just a little bit, again, don't overdo it. If you don't like it, take it off, start again. You're going to have the crevices in the corners where I've gone a little bit darker. You're going to have underneath the embossing on the what shall I say, the base part of the embossing where there's no emboss, then that's the paint is going to stick in there. So if you want it all off, you may really do need to use the baby white, but I'm actually happy with that. So I'm going to go with the corner, with the back of the box. I'm just going to add a little tiny spot of water to my brush and just get back in here. And I can't go all blue now because a lot of it is in the browns, but because I've got these going across, I'm just going to go across with the flow. I'll do the same to each of them. This is like watching paint dry, I suppose, for those of you that know what you're doing. Anyway, I think it's fun. It's quite therapeutic, really, just to be able to sit and dabble and play. And yeah, who cares if it gets mucked up? Just do it again. I've used to teach painting classes, and some of the ladies that came thought, oh my goodness, I can't paint. And I thought, well, anyone can paint, whether it looks all right is the issue. But yeah, I had one lady in the class, she was a real doll, but her colours screamed. And I thought, oh my goodness, well, she loves it, so that's all that matters. And I think that's the thing, you know, do what you love. And if you like it, it doesn't really matter if anyone else doesn't like it. We don't live in a communist country here. We get to make choices. Whoops, was that all right to say that? Oh, I don't know, could be in trouble. Didn't mean any harm. So you're just going to scrap that off. Notice how I'm leaving this little bit here. I don't know, maybe take a little bit more in there, just in case it's looking too, I don't like it to look too even. Alright, that's cool, bananas, that's nice, I like that. Go ahead and do the back of it as well, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'll do it later. I'll just put a little bit more paint on that. I think I might have wiped it off with my hand because it wasn't dry. Oops, out of screen. There we go. See the brush strokes in that? You don't have to have perfect brush strokes for this type of thing. In fact, the less perfect they are, the more beauty you're going to see when you rub back those colours, because in between those brush strokes you've got nice little shades of loveliness. I'm going to leave that at that, put it up the right way. That's actually the right way, that way. That's how I'm going to use it anyway, like that. But I'm not going to finish this one right at the moment because I've got to finish one here that I've shown you a little bit earlier. This is one I made earlier. How often have you loved to say that? All right, so let's move that one out the way. This one's the one that I'm working on. What I plan to do is I've made up a little card this morning of watercolours that I have here, and I thought if I make up a little card I can measure very nicely and pop that in the lid there. And this is just for me, so if this is not your thing, then you use the box for whatever you want. Okay, your choosing day. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down into there, and that's why I just left the middle of that as such. The other thing I'm going to do is I've got some of these little containers that I bought off eBay. Bought 50 of them, so I'm going to probably make a few of these, or at least 2, because I'll probably use 20 colours or thereabouts in each one. And I've just put some watercolour paint in there and it's dried. I'm going to put more in so that it actually fills the little tub, and then I'm going to place them according to the colour chart. So that one will probably go there, up the top, and the other ones will all be in there. So what I've done is I've put, oh, not on this one, but I'm going to put magnets on the bottom of them. You can buy the magnet sheets, and so I'm just going to stick the magnets on the bottom of them, and I'm going to put a sheet of magnet in the bottom there so that it actually sticks down to it, so they're not going to wobble around when I close up my box and I go painty paints. Okay, so I'm going to finish that off and I'm going to come back. When you get to the spine of the box, what I'm doing here is I have to hold it properly, just using the paintbrush and the strokes. I just need to move my palette before I get everything all over myself. Okay, so you can see I've left some brush strokes there, so I'm just going to paint across. Actually, a bit more water on the brush wouldn't hurt. I'll just paint across and use those brush strokes just so that it gives I know books aren't usually grey or black, but it kind of gives you a little bit of a look of book pages there. You don't have to do that, but that's just what I'm doing. Let's do the same here, just long strokes. Move your whole arm, don't move your wrist. If you move your wrist, your strokes won't be straight. And if you hold your breath, here's a tip for you. If you hold your breath, you can actually go very straight. My kids taught me that. I was painting a portrait once and one of my kids said to me, "Mum, stop holding your breath." And I'm thinking, that's what I was doing. Because I think you just do things instinctively that will help, you know, you get to the point that you want to get to in your painting. If you're wanting to paint a straight line, for instance, you would hold your breath. You'd probably find that quite a lot easier than trying to, you know, paint a straight line just with excellent skills. And it's not easy unless you've been doing it a long time. Just going to make that a little bit darker near the base there. And I'm not going to wipe that off. I'm going to leave that. Put that a little bit darker as well. All right. Right, I've got these little magnets. They're just little squares. You can buy them at the cheap stores. And I thought I would use this because I can get my awful fingernails into those. They've got a stick-on back to them, so obviously they're not made for grown-ups because I can't get it off. Oh, it's got to be easier than this. Finally, I've got a system happening here. But what happens is they've got an adhesive little bit on the back of them, so I thought I would use this. It's just a little square, and I'm going to be filling out this, so I'll pop a couple in. And if you remember, I mentioned that I'm going to be putting magnets on the bottom of those little paint pots to go in here so that I can have them sitting sturdily while I'm painting. I mean, you can always move them out if you're going to paint, but the whole idea of this little paint tray is so that I'm just, hopefully that'll stay put. I might have to give it a bit of pressure later, but anyway, we'll get going with these and see how many fit across here. I should have measured it earlier. I think you can actually get the sheets with the sticky backing on them. So if you can get that, then more power to you. Be easier to use probably. Doesn't look as if it's, I think we're going to probably have a little bit of space left on the edge there. I'll just move them over a little bit. That's the beauty of doing a video where I can actually change things a little bit. That's not really very sticky. I thought it would be stickier than that. Maybe I just didn't put enough pressure on because I'm able to move it quite easily. Maybe I need a magnet on the back of this box. That'll fix it. But I'm not going to do that. I will glue them down if I have to. We do what we need to do, girls. We just need to do what we need to do. More fingers here. So I'm going to space them out anyway so that I've got enough across there, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've stuck the little magnets down. I noticed that the backing on these was not as sticky as I'd hoped. So what I've done is I've actually come across these little babies sticky dots. These are awesome. And so what I've done is I've placed one in the center of each of the little squares. You can see just a little divot where the sticky dot is. And I know that those are not going to go anywhere. They are so sticky. Should have seen me. I was actually getting my hands stuck together. My fingers were getting stuck to everything. And oh my goodness, they are very, very sticky little dots. So what I've decided to do is when I put my paint pans in the end, I'm going to stick a sticky dot, one of these little suckers, to the bottom of each of the paint pans, and then I'm going to stick the magnet to that, and that way I know that that magnet is going to stay put on the bottom of the paint pan. And I've also decided, remember my little paint thingy, I'll put all the names, I don't know if you can make them out, of all the colours there so I don't get mixed up, because browns can often look like browns, green can look like green to the untrained eye. So I thought I would just put some colours together. And how I made this little swatch thingy so that it was nice and neat is that I actually did some labels with some sticker paper recently on my Cameo. This is what came out, and it was just my address labels. And so what I did is I'm like a bowerbird, and I keep things that I thought, oh yes, I think I might use that, so I'll just stash that away. And that's what I did. So what I've done is I've actually put that there like so, because it's sticker paper. I stuck it down, and then what I did to make these little bits in the middle is that I've actually, I don't have, oh, there it is, there's another little piece. What I've done is I've put that there like that. Can you see that? So just another little piece of paper over it. So I had to do all of this on the paper before I actually stuck it down onto the watercolor card. And yeah, so that's how I made that. And then I just put the names of each of the paints on there and went around the corner with my trusty little pen here. I love these things, the little precision pens. They're waterproof. So this is a 0.3 I use just to do the outline and to write the words on there. And I need to put my glasses back on because I cannot see very well. Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of gluing it in there, and even though this is the glue that I normally use, I got that at Spotlight, cost an arm and a leg, but it's worth it. It's brilliant stuff. But I didn't want to risk this falling off here. I want it to stay put, so I'm actually going to just put a couple of glue dots down. You can see, just pull them back like so. My filthy fingers, I haven't, and just stick it down like that. Easy breezy. Oh, that one's not so easy. That one's stuck on there, so we'll get that off. Use the next one down. Just going to put them in each of the corners and one in the middle. Don't want to overstick the thing, because if I do need to take it off, if it gets dirty or whatever, I'll probably find it a little bit easier just to gently pull it off if I need to. Hopefully in 20 years time or thereabouts, or when my paint pans are empty. Oh my goodness, talk about doing silly things on camera. Let me just cut that off, it's getting in my way. Right, get rid of that. Alright, start again here. This is what I meant. These are so sticky, mate. They are sticky. So they're not going to go anywhere in a hurry. Okay. And the thing is, they are archival, and it says mini glue dots, bond small items, blah, 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 acid and lignin free. So they're not likely to harden, go brittle, and they're not likely to seep through your page. So I'm using it, and we will hope for the best. Rightio. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently put that in, because once it's down, it's going to be down for a while. Just line it up a little bit better. I don't want it crooked, because that'll really mess with my head, anything crooked. All right, that'll do. That's good. Excellent. Oh, a little bit of paint on there. Okay, just pressing it down with my clean little knuckle. Because my fingers are filthy till I get them washed, which I think I should probably go do now. So there you go. That's the inside of my paint pan, my paint box. And I'm going to put the pans in there, and I'll come back. But maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just work on the pans a little bit, and I'll put that in another part video so that you're not bored to tears. Alrighty, I'll come back with the finished product in another video. Thank you for watching.